This is Dave Levine on the Hearsay Culture Network, returning the favor of 73 questions with my friend and colleague, Denise Howell of This Week in Law and many other podcasting fames. We're going to try out 73 questions here and see how they go. Denise, welcome.
Hi, Dave. It's great to see you.
Same here. Are you ready?
I don't think so, but let's do it anyway.
Let's see how it goes. Number one, I'm not going to do number one. I'll just start there. Your favorite year?
1965, the year I was born.
Coke or Pepsi?
Neither.
Italian or Chinese food?
Italian.
Mexican or Chinese food?
Mexican.
And the last one, Mexican or Chinese food?
Ooh, Mexican.
Yeah, okay. Mexican's the winner. Favorite city, and Italian or Mexican, by the way?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
It depends which country I'm in.
Yes, that's fair too.
Italian in Italy.
Italian, Italy.
Mexican in Mexico.
Favorite city in the United States?
San Francisco.
Favorite city in the world?
Paris.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Biggest privacy problem we face as consumers?
The black box where all our data goes and we have no idea what's going on with it once it's in that box.
And the privacy issue for which there is no solution?
Wow, it might be the answer to the last question. I hope not. Your kid eavesdropping on your parental conversations.
Are blogs with an O past or present?
Past, unless they're on Substack.
And blogs with a W, the term you have coined, past or present?
Same answer.
Where did you go to law school?
Berkeley Law.
And your favorite class?
Securities Law with Larry Sonsini.
And your worst class?
Ooh, God. Probably Estates and Trusts.
Favorite fiction book?
The Lord of the Rings.
And what about favorite nonfiction?
The Clue Train Manifesto.
Ah, very good. Very good. A classic. Same for movies. Your favorite serious film?
Wow. The one that I'll watch every single time that it comes on TV, and I'm not sure why, is the one starring Brad Pitt as Death. What is that one called?
Brad Pitt as Death?
Yes, he plays Death. It's not exactly a serious film. Anthony Hopkins is in it too. Wait, I'm Googling it.
No, that one. I was trying to think of the one where. What was it? There was a film where I think Al Pacino played Death.
It's called Meet Joe Black.
Oh, Meet Joe Black. Okay, there we go. Now you're filing that under serious.
I guess I'm filing that under whimsical.
Well, that's interesting. Well, is there a comedy that's unquestionably a comedy that you'd say is your favorite?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Can you watch Christmas Vacation enough?
Yes, I can.
Your binge TV show of late.
Of late, I just finished Sex Education with Gillian Anderson and others and loved.
What about on TV from the 20th century? Is there a binge show there?
TV from the 20th century. Bob Newhart?
Yeah, okay. Do you have cable?
Yes.
Why?
It's a backup to the satellite for when it goes down. And the second answer to why is because I live with a sports fan, and we have yet to find a good over-the-top method that gets him all the sports games that he would like to see.
Which therefore leads me to my follow-up question, which is cutting the cord for everyone?
Probably not, no.
You walk into a room of strangers. What do you do first?
Walking to a room full of strangers, what do you do first? I look for the nerd and try and find common ground.
In a meeting, are you the quiet person, or are you more likely to be the one that has his or her hand up regularly?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I try and fly low and fast, but if I have a burning question, I'll ask it.
Do you have any desks where you have stacks of paper?
Small stacks.
Are stacks of paper everywhere or just in limited places?
Limited places. Like my stack of bills will pile up until I pay it, and then they go away.
Not a clinical question, but is stacking an indication to you of hoarding?
Nothing is an indication to me of hoarding.
What about collectors of things? Are they hoarders? Not clinically,
Nope.
just generally.
No.
What does a cluttered office tell you about a person?
They have an interesting mind.
And what about an office with no clutter at all?
They have taken Marie Kondo a bit too much to heart.
Your favorite, well, I should preface this. You have an Instagram page with many outfits, clothing, and accessories to clothing. What is your favorite outfit for summer?
Oh, my favorite outfit for summer would just be really comfy flat sandals, sundress, sweatshirt around your waist in case a breeze comes up.
Is there any accessory that goes with that?
Oh, always.
Which is good. You're anticipating my questions. Is there always an accessory for a good outfit?
Yes.
Okay. What about for winter? Your favorite outfit?
Ski clothes.
When do you stop wearing light colors?
Never.
Okay. How often do you wear hats?
Often.
How many Instagram photos, roughly speaking, of your outfits exist on Instagram?
Too many.
What is the optimal number of outfits that the average person should post to social media?
The optimal number is 0.
I was just
sadly.
I didn't know. And I'm right there. Your opinion on caffeinated sparkling water?
Not for me.
What about alcoholic sparkling water, like these White Claws?
You know, I find them cocktails light. They're somewhere between a refreshing beverage at the end of the day and a cocktail.
Internet capitalized?
Always.
Den of thieves, the internet, or place of limitless potential?
Both.
Should 15-year-olds drive automobiles on public roads?
As seldom as possible.
What about 16-year-olds?
More often than the 15-year-olds. Mine did. He got his license shortly after his birthday, and I white-knuckled it for a while. But within a few months, I could actually sit next to him and breathe.
So any regrets that he drove at that time?
No.
Have you been in an autonomous car, like a Tesla or any other car?
I've been in a Tesla, but it never went into self-driving mode in my presence.
Okay. So semi or fully autonomous, you haven't experienced that.
Nope.
Okay. Which I guess leads to the question: then you don't own one.
I do not. I have a Ford Explorer, and it has various features that creep towards autonomy. It has lane keeping and automatic braking if you're going to slam into something. Or sometimes it shrieks at you when you're not going to slam into something, which is quite annoying.
So
But
go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
we're inching toward it in everyday cars that don't call themselves autonomous.
So are those devices nanny state, or are they essential safety devices that everyone should embrace?
I tend to think the latter, although they are not perfect, as mentioned.
Should fully autonomous cars be on public roads?
Eventually.
And what would be the measurement for whether they should be there?
Lots more testing and safety standards that apply.
Best law for you, Denise Howell.
Best law for me?
Yes.
The law I like the best for me personally?
Personally.
Wow.
As applied to you.
As applied to me. This is a new one. I don't know if it's really a law. It's more of a rule. But most ski resorts this year, as we wend our way through the pandemic, and now that people are by and large vaccinated, most ski resorts are not requiring people to wear masks outdoors and on chairlifts. And I think that's a good thing. I think masks on a chairlift or in a, on a ski slope for sure are overkill for me.
What about the best law as applied to others? I.e. not Denise Howell.
Best law as applied to others. I guess I'd have to say, since we're on an automotive theme here a bit, speed limits have their place. I don't need everything being the Autobahn.
Best branch of government in the U.S.?
Judicial.
Federalism, keep it or change it?
I think things always have to change and adapt.
Should we have another constitutional convention? Yes or no?
There are some amendments I'd like to see added, so yeah.
What would be the Denise Howell amendments?
The ERA.
Yeah, which has been, of course, debated for decades now. Very good. Any pets?
Yes. Dog, obvious. Less obvious, fish, corals, lizards, amphibians.
To be clear, the coral is a pet because it is living?
It is. Okay. Corals are technically animals.
And I'm going to go off script for my 73 questions. Now I'm intrigued. What's it like to have a pet coral?
Time consuming, and it's thankfully it's not my time that it's consuming. This is my son's hobby, so I'm counting family pets.
And of course, coral reefs we know are dying all over the globe, so it's probably a good idea to have. All right, Back to 73 questions. This is one of the challenges. You didn't mention it, but I'm asking: have you ever owned a bird?
Nope, have never owned a bird. Although last summer, a family of ducks took a residence in our pool, a la Tony Soprano.
Are they still there?
No, thank goodness.
What's the main thing that we've learned about technology since the dawn of the commercial internet?
That we don't know how it's going to impact our existing legal infrastructures, and we never will.
Technology or misuse of technology, is it the fault of the technology or the fault of the user?
Often both. I think you can't expect every single person who invents a new service or piece of tech to anticipate every use that it's going to have. I think of poor Chris Anderson trying to build communities around drones and being appalled at the uses to which those drones were put. So I don't blame Chris. I don't blame the people who made the drones. I don't necessarily blame the users, except the particular ones who decide to do terrible things.
Well, I'm not sure I know the answer then, so I'm going to ask this. Should any technologies that currently exist be banned outright?
I'm tempted to say my father should not be allowed near texting or email, but that's not kind.
But that is 73 questions.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. No, it isn't. I mean, that's, I think, the model. No, we're not there yet, although I have added several. So what is the next big issue in technology that you'd like to see resolved?
I think privacy is an ongoing big issue. It is a current big issue and will continue being an enormous issue. And will we get to the point where nobody cares anymore? Maybe. And it breaks my heart, and I hope that that's not the case. And since we're talking about cars, I mean, cars are a great way to weave in both the safety considerations and the privacy considerations because of their location-capable technologies and also logging various things that happen both to the car and within the car.
What's the best piece of advice that you received from a teacher?
Read all the time, as much as possible. My favorite teacher was my first grade teacher who taught me how to read.
Do you remember his or her name?
Her name was Connie Forsland.
It's always worth naming the great teachers. Remembered. What about best advice from a relative?
Well, my father is a font of advice. And probably the best advice he ever gave me, although he's just full of good advice and I try to take all of it to heart. But the one that sort of sticks with me down the years is in the middle of studying for the bar exam, he insisted that I get a massage, and I'd never had a professional massage before. And it was the right call.
Huh. And you evidently passed. So that's,
I did.
So that's the thing. Do you credit the massage?
No, but it helped.
That's okay for any of my students listening. Okay. Have you ever been at mailbox 0?
I am now, and it's unintentional.
Wow.
I generally am not at mailbox 0, but I did a silly thing where I thought that all the mail in my Apple Mail account, that you could do things to that did not impact your main email account to which it was linked. And I was wrong. So I managed to zero out my email unintentionally.
Are you happy you did it? In retrospect?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. What do you consider your greatest professional achievement?
Wow. I authored and submitted a brief to the United States Supreme Court. That's not something people do every day. I've submitted, dozens of briefs to the appellate courts of California, of which I'm very proud, and that involved a lot of work and research, and some of them were even successful.
I wasn't going to ask that question, but
so I mean, personally, those were very gratifying. But really, I think my most personally satisfying professional achievement has to do with the people that I worked with. I tried to be a good mentor. I tried to be a good friend. I tried to be supportive. I tried to never subject my subordinates to some of the awful things I was subjected to that I wouldn't wish on anybody. So I learned from those and tried to pay it forward in a better way.
Does or can money buy love?
Nope.
Does everyone have a price?
God, I hope not.
Are you a fan of the Big Lebowski film?
Yes, of course.
If this ever goes on air, we'll have to bleep it, but you have a favorite line from the film?
No, not off the top of my head. I just idolize the dude.
And depending on how far you go with the Lebowski, it can get very deep here. What is the next big technology?
The next big technology. Wouldn't we all like to know? The things that that we don't expect are always the next big technology. Hopefully it's universal high-speed Wi-Fi. Let's go with that.
I think we're at 73. So I'm going to ask you this question. Is 73 questions enough?
I'm having fun. I could go on. So no.
I'll do a few more then. This is kind of bonus content, folks. What tech that we currently use do you think is going to be gone in 10 years?
Email.
Okay. What is your most useful word?
My most useful word, please.
Please state a word that you've never used in a conversation, if there is one, and you can think of it.
Oh, we could have fun with this.
Yeah, of course we could. Yeah, I know. That's why I asked it.
Snuffleupagus.
All right. This will be the last question, which is, if you had to, and it's a cliche, but it's such a great question, right? You have to pick 5 non-living items to have with you for the rest of your days. What are they and why?
5, that's generous.
Being generous. But only 5, and I'm putting aside anyone who's alive that hopefully we can agree we shouldn't call an item.
Okay. 5 non-living items. Well, I guess I would have to say a perpetually charged phone, so as not to be isolated, with all of the functionality that we have come to know in our phones, and all of the things that keep us company there, such as audiobooks and Kindle books and music. That would be a critical thing to have in one item, right? My second item would be copious supplies of tom kha gai soup, which I've decided is my desert island food. Wow, 3 more. I might be able to get by with just those 2.
Just those 2. So
I might
just that soup and that device.
Yep, and I guess, if I don't need clothing or anything else,
well, yeah,
it's going to be an interesting life.
No, that's certainly one way to live.
Well, okay. If we're talking the rest of my life, I also need a perpetually powder-laden mountain, warm ski gear, and my favorite skis.
And okay, yeah. Let me close on this one then, which is the iPod was somewhat famously called by Steve Levy the greatest thing in a book that he wrote about 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
What is to you the greatest thing?
Probably a good book in a rainstorm.
Excellent, Denise. This is beyond 73 questions. I'll have to go back and count. But thank you for engaging in this what I think certainly was enlightening to me, on an interesting array of something on the order of maybe 80-ish questions. I think probably maybe close to 90. Thank you, Denise, for joining us.
I've always been an overachiever.
Yeah, and you did it again. You did it again. We could keep. Okay, I'm going to ask one more. All right, this is like after the band leaves the stage and then they pretend that there's a not, and then they actually show up for another encore.
The encore question.
The encore question, which I skipped, and now I'm going to come back to. Have you ever gotten advice from a stranger unsolicited?
Yes. When I was a new mother, people seem, for some reason, to feel themselves very, very entitled to tell you things about your child, tell you what to do with your child, give you pointers about your child, complain about your child. And again, as with terrible things that happened in the workplace, I have tried to pay it forward by never doing that to new parents, because that's awful.
Yeah. And which probably leads to, okay, now this really is the last one. Have you ever gotten good unsolicited advice from a stranger that you can recall?
Well, I probably have, but I've probably been too bitter about it to take it to heart.
Yeah, too annoyed.
Because I feel like it's such an intrusion. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Denise, thank you for joining us today on our 73 questions discussion on the Hearsay Culture Network.
Thank you so much, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Same here.